Doc, before we let you go, you have listened to the policy proposals for the NPP and the NDC, and now we have the new force. Which do you think is easier to achieve?
All of them, they have said that they will be able to do them. So they must now begin to tell us how they are going to do. Take for instance, each of the dominant political parties, I'm talking about NPP, NDC, each of them trying to establish a specialized bank for effective, fine, brilliant idea. Where are you going to get the money? And how are you, execute that project? We want to know. All right, they've all promised free things. How are you going to finance that? In which part of the national kitty are you going to derive that money from? At whose expense and all that? We really want to see all those things, because that will now open the frontiers of your ideas for further interrogation, discussion, and analysis. So they have to tell us more. All of them were very quiet about the fact that we have also spent resources, huge resources, of course, to put up structures for ourselves. That is what? Affordable housing and all that. They are in the bush now. What are they talking about, the two parties? What are they talking about? Shadat, does he also have something relative to that? We want to see and ensure value for money, because this thing costs a lot of money for the state. And remember, public policies are driven by what? State resources. So we can't let it go. We want to ensure value for money. So how are we going to navigate that way? All these things must come out clearly. There are some of their policies, just on top of my head, that it's workable. There are some, that, hey, they don't have what it takes to go. Take the issue of corruption. Let's also place it at the doorstep of the MP. They are saying that they will fight corruption and all that. For me, it's an empty talk, because charity begins at home. Today, in spite of all the promises by the president, corruption is at the lowest ebb that it has soiled the reputation of the government. And Transparency International report comes in handy for us to make ourselves, known, or we know about this issue. Transparency report is clear on that. And you realize that the government has failed ab initio against the fight against corruption. So what are they telling us now, Dr. Baumia? If you can do anything about corruption, it should be now. You shouldn't wait till he gets power. The government must put in, because he is not a spare driver. He is not a driver's mate. He's a spare driver. So he must be able to do something. Remember, corruption is also a factor that influences voter choices in this country. So you can't ignore it. And above all, it is an important governance indicator which must be addressed at all times, given the quantum of money that we lose through corruption every year. That GII, Ghana Integrity Initiative, have told us about $3 billion. We are in IMF looking for $3 billion. And if we can face corruption, we can do ourselves good. So this is something, look at it, they all talk about environment. NDC talk about what? They will also make sure the environment is kept this and that. Look at the government talking about environment. But we are here, and we are seeing the devastation, nature of how environment is going down due to what? Galamsey activity, to the extent that now Cape Coast, Elimina, and surrounding communities are affected heavily by what? They are in crisis, water crisis there, due to what? This illegal mining. What has the government done? And you want to wait when to address this? That becomes a laughable statement to me. Because
so you want to see more commitment to their manifesto promises?
Sorry?
So you want to see more commitment to their manifesto promises?
Yes, especially those, the party which is in government. You have opportunity to turn things around now. Don't wait till another time. Who says that I'm going to survive up to that time? If you don't fix the problem that relates to what Galamsey and people die, who are you going to govern when you get power? Fix it now. Fix it now. Those in opposition who want to come, tell us more important things as to how you want to fix it. Because when you were in office also, NDC, there were also issues of corruption. How did you deal with that? How different is it going to be your approach this time around when we give you the money? Convince us beyond reasonable doubt that you have what it takes. You have the magic wand to turn things around this time. Okay. Otherwise, it becomes a mere propaganda. But for me, I am optimistic.
Okay.
I know that they have made all promises, and that is how campaign ought to be. But look, let's interrogate the issues.
Interrogate we will. Dr. Asah-Asante, thank you so much for your time here.